Hey guys, thanks for tuning in again. I'm gonna keep showing some more pedals and stuff. I'm gonna do a series of videos, probably ongoing with as much as I like pedals. I don't have a lot of pedals, but I love using them, of course. They're a big part of my sound. And I'll be trying some new ones, maybe ones that people recommend, or maybe some cool, unique, used ones. And then maybe some that are highly rated by like a lot of people. Maybe a lot of people use certain pedals, and I'm going to try those too. But the caveat is I'm going to use these things live, and that's going to be maybe a bit different of a opinion than most other YouTubers out there. Is mostly a live guitar player, play a lot of shows through the years, and that's all I do all year long. So tonight I'm going to be using this trusty black American Stratocaster. It's pretty plain, but it's got some character already, and I've beaten it up a little bit already. And I'm going to be using my amps that I use live, actually, right now. This year, I bought a used old 2x12 Epiphone Blues custom combo, and it's a cheap amp, but it's great. I love it so much, and it's taken a beating on the road and in the rain and the sun, and it's done really, really well, surprisingly. I'm also going to be using, it's kind of behind me, I might reposition it for other videos, but it's a Bad Cat, you can't see it, but yeah, Bad Cat 210, Cub 2 from the early 2000s, and it's the Mark Sampson era built one, and it sounds great. It sounds to me like a Matchless maybe would sound. Lots of people have an opinion on that, and it sounds pretty Vox-like. I love it as a lead guitar amp, and I do amp switching and looping with two different amps. It's a rather unique thing, and I might do a video on that sometime in this series soon as well. But just know for now, my rhythm amp is my Epiphone, and my lead amp is this Bad Cat amp, this new one that I've gotten, and I love it. I love these amps live. They really have a lot of presence and punch. And yeah, so I'm going to just keep going through pedals, and tonight I'm going to be going through this pedal here, the Riverside by Strymon. And this has been a staple on my board for a little while, and it's, you know, from far away it's golden and shiny, but right now it's kind of dirty and grubby. I've cleaned it once already, but, you know, it's gotten a lot of foot dirt stomping on it. But I use it right now. Right now it's just kind of set up to be a clean boost. And it's a DSP technology pedal. It's not like analog or, you know, transistor or whatever. So it's a little bit different. It doesn't quite have as much character as like other pedals would, but it's just a nice full frequency sound. And so that's what I go for in a lot of my bass sound. Excuse me, don't eat Chick-fil-A before you do these videos. That's a lot. What I go for is like a full frequency drive or a full frequency sound. In my amp sound, I have like a lot of bass because most of the time I'm playing. Most of the time I'm doing rhythm and lead. I'm playing like two different guitar parts. I'm playing the part of two different guitar players, and I don't really have a lot of guitar players to play with a lot of times. I mean, I do have one band member, but he's not there for every show, and you know, not everything works out to where we can have him. So I'm generally doing, you know, rhythm and lead at the same time. So I like a lot of full sound. So that's my Epiphone. This is the Bad Cat. I'd say the Bad Cat's slightly more pushed. But I use this right now as a clean boost, mostly, as an always-on pedal, and to kind of boost the output of the Strat as the input into all the rest of the pedals in the amp. So since the single coils are a little thin and snappy, it kind of fattens it slightly. And I can also dial in different EQ if I wanted to, and sometimes I do that based upon the room, like if I'm outdoors or in a room. Sometimes rooms have like a lot of resonance to them, and they're, they sound awesome to play in, and it's a lot of sound, and you kind of have to, dial it back and work with that. But then sometimes when I'm outside, everything sounds, weak and thin and just, it just needs some fattening. So that's why you see the bass knob there on the EQ. It's really, really, it's like, it's like 3 o'clock almost. So, I just kind of have that to play with. And I can add a little treble if I want, if I feel like it's a dull sound or muddy sound or whatever. But I don't really do too much to it. I keep it on the low gain setting, and then I just set the drive kind of a lower setting. I mean, it's not real low drive, but for a single coil, it's not, you're not going to notice that much. It's just kind of pushing the sound a little bit. It's not really compressing it, though, like some other pedals would do or like an amp would do. So it's just a little bit different of a thing, almost like a boost. Like I said, clean boost. And then it's a nice balance to have on with the Strat and then off with my Les Paul if I switch back and forth. So that's kind of how I use it. So here's the amp sound again. Both amps. Yeah, the Bad Cat sounds a little bit better clean, but then I push it a little bit. Off. It just sounds a little bit too much like I'm part of Earth, Wind, and Fire all the time. I don't really want to sound like that all the time. I'm not really doing that all the time. So having it push a little. And here's the Bad Cat. So that's kind of my always on sound, and it's got the rhythm and attack as if it's almost a clean sound, but it's got more bite to it, basically. So that's that, and I figured we would, rather than bore you with playing that sound all evening, we just kind of dial in a few other sounds just to show you what this pedal can do. Now, the advantage of this pedal is, it's not going to have quite as much character as some of the other analog pedals out there, but the wide range of variety of gain that you can dial in with it is really, really nice and really handy. So that's my always on, and this side says on. And it's the normal setting. You'll notice this push knob, the switch at the top. It's just always on normal, which is more full frequency. But then if you push that knob down to mid, it kind of pushes the mids like a tube screamer. So some guitars, they would sound too muddy and weird, and you can definitely re-EQ it. And I'll get to that in a second. But for a Strat or somebody who likes tube screamers or wants that sound, it is a great sound. So let's go ahead and dial that in. Let me go up on the drive a little bit. it's, you know, it's more pushed in the mid. And what you could do is just dial in some of your tone knobs to kind of get back some of that high-end sparkle if it kind of muddies it a little. You just play around with that. And then what you could do, if you just, since it's such a wacky setting, that's, you know, different than the rest of the pedal. If you liked a certain sound and dialed it in, you could set it to the favorite switch. And just by holding it down and then save it there, and it'll kind of save the EQ and everything as well. So that could be pretty handy if you like sound like that. That's kind of a lower gain. So I'm going to kind of just go like to a mid gain, you know, just kind of another low gain setting, just go up a little bit from where I was. Just keeping the level where it was. I don't really want to boost the signal too much right now. So that's an awesome sound, like as it is, and by the guitar when the guitar is by itself. Let me just say it like that. In the middle of a band, it might be a little bit, you know, too flat, and you might want to push some more treble, or maybe go up on the mids or something if that's going to be like your main like drive sound. So a lot of people might not like that. Again, I like it to be very flat and full frequency, and then I stack other pedals on top of that. So, yeah, again, I use it like a low gain, and then I add another low gain to it to kind of give it some more crunch. But great, clean sounding overdrive. I don't know if that's a good thing or not, but to me, I love it because it just adds presence and girth. Now, one of my favorite settings, it's the favorite setting that I've set to be, and it's a high gain setting. So rather than going through the high and low gain, I'm just going to go to my favorite setting. And it's rather high. I think the drive's pretty high, like at 2 o'clock or something, and then the level's higher up as well. And I used to almost use it just like a boost. So I would use more gain on the input. You know, I'd set this to be slightly a little bit higher than it is right now, and then jump to the favorite switch, and it was almost like definitely a higher gain, but creamy, sort of boosted in a way, because I boosted the signal at the level. I boosted the level side. See that level knob? So I'm going to go to that setting and show you what that's like. I still use it and just use it more like a high gain. Like it's very creamy, and Strymon did a great job to make it just sound creamy and nice and smooth, and yeah. Here we go. But it's also pretty mean, you know. It's not just creamy. It's not devoid of punch and character. You know, I'm making this DSP sound idea sound like it's just very flat, and it can be that way if you just keep the settings really flat. But I'm gonna do a little bit of loop with this because it's really fun. it's just, it's lovely. It's so fat, it's so full, it's so smooth. Oh, it's so nice. But it also can sound pretty mean. And with the Strat, I can, keep stacking. And it gets too crazy. But every now and then you might want some crazy parts just at the end of a song or something. And I could keep stacking with a single coil. We'll grab the Les Paul in a second and go through these sounds as well. But you can't do that with the Les Paul. It's like after a while it just gets to be too much, and then it starts to be, what's the word? Starts ringing. The pickups actually start feeding back a ton. Oh man, what's the word? I'm looking so amateur right now. Sometimes I like the sound of. Anyways, man, that's sad. Yeah, see, that's just too thin. So it's not quite a clean boost there, but it's close. All right, I'm going to switch guitars and show you what it's like with the humbuckers. All right, there we go. So this is my old Epiphone. It's got these Mojo Tone, handmade, hand-wound, that's like 59 PIF clones is what they call them. And I had to have these custom made to be gold because they don't have them like in stock as gold or something. But so I had them on order for quite a while. So that makes this guitar pretty special, but it's pretty harsh compared to the Strat for, a whole set. The Strat just fits in so nicely, and it's like, a lot of great rhythms can be had with the Strat, and it just sits in it pretty easy with the band. But this thing it kind of is crazy. So here's my Epiphone. That pretty twangy, even though it's a lot of mid-range characteristic, of course. Now here is the Bad Cat. So I really just don't need much, but we'll just try a low gain setting. And of course with the Les Paul, everything sounds awesome and rocking. It's just you have nowhere else to go once you start going that way. It sounds great. delay on it. Yeah, I mean, even, it's kind of tough to get a good sound out of the neck pickup, but, I mean, depending on what you're playing, this thing just, it snaps and roars, especially with a little bit of drive like that. It helps it a little bit to get it some snap. So it's going to be tough, but I'm going to do a little bit. Here's what the high gain setting sounds like. Turning it on, and it just pretty much sounds like an amp at full blast. It just sounds like every rock song of all time right there. So I'm going to go back and forth. I'm going to leave a little bit of the high gain on. It's going to be a little bit intense probably for the audio, but I don't know. Hopefully it's not too distorted. But no, don't go funk. We'll just go, I don't know. It's a lot. I'm going to do something with a little bit of slide, because the slide favors this one a little bit over the Strat, just because of the action's slightly higher. But here we go. Let's come up with something with slide. Let's see. was a little bit sloppy, but it's pretty fun. Cool. There's kind of my way of using the Riverside. It's not everything, but there's a couple of extra switches back there. You know, you can add an external switch, and maybe you could like save a third setting. I think there's different layers to the favorite switch as well, which is pretty cool. But I just only use it for kind of its face value. But anyways, so that's my demo of the Riverside. They're not cheap pedals, but they're not a super high dollar gain pedal either. And you get two great drive pedals in one if you want more of that, in my opinion, more of that full frequency kind of a drive rather than like a treble booster or like something that pushes those mids more. You probably don't want this pedal, but yeah, I just found it extremely useful and extremely like high fidelity as well. So it retains a lot of my attack in what I'm doing. So I like to retain a lot of that, and that's a bit much for the Les Paul, but because I'm such a heavy rhythm player. So that's important to me, and that's a big part of this type of pedal where it's DSP. It's keeping all those frequencies in there. Perhaps, in my opinion, a little more than a lot of pedals. I mean, there's a lot of great pedals out there. It's not, don't get me wrong, but most people want to kind of just accentuate their just more single note pickers and stuff. That's not necessarily me. That's not necessarily the way I use pedals or the way I play. I mean, I do go back and forth. So as an all-around pedal, it's just awesome. So thanks for listening to me noodle and ramble. Noodle and ramble. All right. Well, this has been fun for me. I love this stuff. I love noodling and rambling. And again, this 2 videos so far about Strymon pedals, which are amazing, and everyone knows that. I have some amazing pedals out there. So stay tuned for some more, and thanks for listening. Take care.